Hey folks, we're back at Bolton Street Cemetery today to follow the cemetery's memorial trail. Okay, I've asked my random number generator on my phone to produce me a number between 1 and 47, and we've arrived at number 29, which is the historical site of the Wallace family plot. And I'm kind of in two minds about visiting this site because it looks dreadfully sad. This is the gravesite of where 5 Wallace children died of scarlet fever in May of 1865, and the 6th died 3 months later. Could you imagine how traumatic that was? Okay. This site is in the lower section of the cemetery, below the motorway. Right, let's go hunt that down. We're right by the main motorway in and out of Wellington city here, so there is a lot of traffic noise. But heading from the top part of the cemetery, past the motorway, down to the lower Bolton Street Cemetery area. Luckily there is this pedestrian bridge here to get us down to where we need to go. Now this part of the cemetery we're walking into is pretty special. It's the oldest part of Bolton Street Cemetery, so it's where some of the very first settlers to Wellington are buried. The land was set aside in 1840 by the New Zealand Company to serve as the town's primary public cemetery, which is the same year that the first British settler ship, the Aurora, arrived in Wellington. At that time, the cemetery sat on the edge of the young settlement, but as the town grew into a city, they quickly ran out of space. So 50 years later, in 1892, they closed Bolton Street Cemetery and opened the much larger cemetery for the city up in Karori. Now, whilst the Wallace family plot isn't far from here, I thought we'd have a quick wander through the whole lower cemetery area because I'd like to share with you what a remarkable place it is to explore. It's so easy to forget you're actually surrounded by high rises in the motorway once you get engrossed in the history here. Some of the things I love the most are the crazy jumble of different headstone styles, the hilly topography, the huge trees which tower over the cemetery, and of course reading about the early settlers. So we're across the other side of the lower cemetery area, and this gorgeous building is the Bolton Street Cemetery Museum. This is where you should come if you're passing through to find out about the history of the cemetery and pick up a pamphlet for the memorial trail if you'd like to follow it yourself. Okay, we are looping back to the Wallace family plot now. Just before we get there, note this really big English oak with the twisted branches. It is believed to have been planted by Bishop George Selwyn, who was New Zealand's first Anglican bishop, in 1842. That makes this tree over 180 years old. But interestingly, these trees can live between 500 and 1,000 years old in the UK, so it's just a juvenile tree. Nonetheless, this tree is protected by the Wellington City Council as a notable heritage tree, which is pretty cool. As you can see in the cemetery, there's also some other huge trees, a couple of beautiful pahutakawa and several really large pine trees. So the whole area feels quite nicely tucked away amongst these beautiful trees. Now, one thing that really stands out when you walk through a historic cemetery like this is the number of children buried. It's obvious that in the colonial era that childhood illnesses were a constant fear. There were diseases like measles, influenza, scarlet fever. They could sweep through whole communities with frightening speed. And this was long before antibiotics were developed in the 1940s, and there was very little that doctors could do once children became seriously ill. Scarlet fever itself is caused by Streptococcus bacteria and usually begins with a sore throat and fever before the distinctive bright red rash appears. The rash itself is caused by a toxin which is produced by the bacteria. Just popping a picture of how the disease presents up on the screen. And what caused it to be fatal was actually the complications from that bacterial infection. Things like sepsis, organ failure, and pneumonia were very common. As mentioned today, it can be treated quickly with antibiotics and most children recover completely. But in colonial times, scarlet fever could become deadly and easily spread through households, schools, and whole neighbourhoods. For many families, it was one of the illnesses they dreaded the most. And that brings us to the Wallace family plot, just coming into view. So the plot itself consists of these 4 headstones in a line, and the 2 at each end of the plot tell the story of the children who died at such a young age. It was a little hard to take it all in, really. The parents of these children were John Howard Wallace and Sarah Ann Wallace. John arrived in Wellington on the Aurora in 1840 and became one of the young colony's most energetic pioneers, helping to shape the early development of this city. And Sarah, whom he married in 1848, was the heart of their large family of 10 children. But in 1865, they endured the unimaginable loss of 6 of those children to scarlet fever. The first 5 died over a period of less than 3 weeks, and a 6th child died about 3 months later. And they'd already lost one other child prior to the epidemic in 1854. But despite that devastating tragedy, they carried on with their lives, and 3 of their children survived to adulthood, with descendants who remained prominent in Wellington. There are many other sad stories of families losing children here at Bolton Street Cemetery. This includes the MacDonald family, who lost their only 3 children to scarlet fever within 1 month in 1876. Here is a beautiful angel statue erected for them in the upper cemetery. And also the Duff family, who tragically lost 5 children within 11 days to diphtheria, which is also a contagious bacterial infection, in late 1876 to early 1877. As difficult as stories like this are, I think they're also important as a reminder of how tough colonial life must have been and how fortunate we are today with modern medicine. Well, thanks, crew, for joining me on another stop along the Bolton Street Cemetery Memorial Trail. There's definitely more stories to be discovered, so we'll come back another time. But I'll just close off with taking you for a short stroll into the Botanic Gardens, and otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day.